Hello, my name is Glen Sawyer. I'm here at Agave Farms in the community garden section of the nursery. My partner's name is Gilberto. Him and I both started this urban farm at Agave Farms last September. I came over to Agave Farms. I was amazed that there could be a farm in the middle of the urban city. I had no idea what farming was going to be like. We started out tilling up a row so that we could put in beets and carrots for the fall and winter crop, while we continued to get the rest of the property ready for heirloom tomatoes. Towards October, we decided to plant on the very right side of the garden kale arugula, and so that gave us something to grow while we continued to build the structure, put in the fence posts, put in the trellising, wrapping the twine on hooks, and all of the things that we needed to be successful with heirloom tomatoes. As it got hot after everything was planted and growing, we added the sunshade, and then we added the bird netting, because the bird nettings just ruin your tomatoes, and so we wanted to make sure we kept the birds out. When we first started, I started documenting all of the steps that I was taking, and I started putting them on social media, on Facebook. And a lot of my friends, and I have 1,000 friends on Facebook, started making comments of, "You're really farming? Where is this? In your backyard?" No, it's in the middle of Phoenix. They were amazed that there was farming going on in the middle of Phoenix. And they were amazed that at 69 years old, I was taking on this kind of a project, and they were seeing the progress of the farm and how hard I was working with my partner, and how we were building this farm and structure. And it gave a lot of people the idea that, hey, if two old guys that should be retired can do this and no experience, we should be able to do this too, which was, great inspiration for me. So I started going to YouTube University and learning as much as I could about trellising and tomatoes and fertilizing and planting and pruning and all the steps that I needed to try to make this successful. We planted 2,500 seeds in little tiny containers January 1st. So all these plants behind me, we started by hand from seed. And it's just amazing that you can get these big plants from a seed that you can hardly see when we planted them. And we worked very hard getting all those seeds planted and then repotted and put in our greenhouses and keeping them alive during the January, February freezes. We planted those seedlings in the garden here, very time consuming. We lost almost a whole row to frost when we first started planting in February and had to replant. But out of those 2,500 seeds, we ended up getting 1,350 plants in the ground here at Agave Farms. The goal was to get 2,000 in, but I didn't realize, since we'd never farmed before, didn't realize the work involved to take care of 2,000 tomato plants. 1,350 is overwhelming sometimes. I spent hours and hours planting and pruning, and my sister and volunteers would come out and help me. And then once they started producing, my goodness, my sister came out last Thursday and helped me pick 730 pounds of heirloom tomatoes. So you've got some old people doing some really hard work. The community garden concept is growing. It needs to grow. We need more of them. And if you're interested in doing any kind of community gardening, there may be a community garden space near you. And that would be something that would be awesome if more of us can get involved with growing food on our own. I think the community garden concept and being self-sufficient with your own food supply is vitally important. In our climate right now of world activity and nationwide activity, we don't know where the shortages are going to be next. We have lumber shortages, we have all kinds of shortages. I really think that we're going to have a food shortage. And if you're not growing some of your own food, you may be in a real bind. I think we should all be growing more of our own food. We can grow different produce, we can share it, we can barter it, we can can it, we can dry it, we can freeze it. So vitally important that we keep the community garden concept growing so that we can produce produce and food. Because the younger generation thinks all you do is go to the store and you buy it. they don't really know where it comes from. We need to be teaching our kids how to grow something from a seed and show them how exciting it can be to actually see a plant like a tomato plant behind me come from a small seed, and let them know where their food comes from and how well it tastes, how much better it tastes than what you're buying in the store right now. I have to tell you that I am really proud and satisfied that I've been able to take a piece of ground covered in weeds and be able to turn it into a wonderful heirloom tomato patch. I can be outside where it's healthy, I'm getting all my sunshine and vitamin D, and it just gives me a tremendous amount of satisfaction to be able to take something that was just bare dirt and turn it into such a nice tomato farm and be able to get such nice tomatoes out of it. I just want to put out a big thank you to Agave Farms and Urban Farming Education.